Give 3 creators the same inspiration and you'll get 3 completely different builds. We're back. Learning techniques, seeing how I can apply them, and discovering whether this assumption is actually true. There's pro lighting and color tips, new ways to approach your builds, absolutely nailing concepts and storytelling, and so much more. These folks blew it out of the water, and honestly, I think it's some of my best work as well. Our first creator is GP at Home. By now, maybe you've met him? This is the guy who's delivered us some amazing cinematic builds, including this one that got featured on Wowhead and won the Radio competition at Northrend Live. But hang on a sec. I need to tell you about the inspiration for these builds. We're hitting the nostalgia hard, at least for me, and heading to one of my favorite childhood stories, the Magic Faraway Tree. It's a magic tree in an enchanted wood, and the somewhat eccentric inhabitants befriend some children and take them on fantastical adventures to the lands that float in at the top of the tree. Let's get back to GP's build. At first glance, he hits you with the huge visual impact that he's known for. As an artist, GP saw the original story and saw it through his own lens and said, "I'm seeing a living painting through surrealism." That was totally all of our first instincts as well, right? So he invented a land for the faraway tree, the land of everlasting sun, and set about making color and light a character all of their own. And it's not just the environmental characters. GP's brought our tree friends in as well, each with his own twist. Take Dame Washalot. In the book, she's constantly dumping dirty washing water down the tree, and so he took this idea and ran with it. He's added windows all through the build so that you never quite know when you might get a rude splash of laundry water in the face. We find more characters, imagined at fairy scale so the furniture is shrunk down, as he adds space for the fairy Silky and the perpetually confused Mr. What's-His-Name. And then Moonface's room. Inspired by what happens to gravity in space, and whatever a man in the moon dreams about, GP's built a full upside-down room. We've seen this trick since the beginning of housing, but I've never seen it in a full WoW build. It's also given him the perfect opportunity to mix in some of those surrealist notes as well. Follow the path a little further, and you'll find Mr. Saucepan's house, where we see mech designs tucked into all of this nature. Imagining our metal-clad friend as an inventor, with a loud clanging workshop. And it totally fits. He's quite hard of hearing, you know. And finally, the land of the everlasting sun, with its brilliant light that cascades down the waterfall, infusing the land with its prismatic warmth. Here's the first thing that I want to share from GP. Let's talk mood boards, because GP knows mood boards. If you're anything like me, you use mood boards literally. This is legit, but if it's all we're doing, we're missing out. There's more. GP's approach to mood boards is part of the reason his builds look so unique. Before he's even placed a single piece of decor, he'll deep dive into the story, the characters, and the feeling of the world. And then he'll construct a mood board based on how he feels, more than the specific objects. This helps him reinterpret and translate his feelings into the build. Who would have thunk it? Mood boards. Let's really get into that color. When GP thinks about color, he's thinking about painting with it. Just as you do with a painting, he starts with base colors and then layers on more color to build out the image. By experimenting over time, he's gotten to know the WoW palette. And so he gets colors from his mood board planning that will really tell the story in his build. This color story starts with the world around the waterfall. The deep browns give a grounded, earthy feel. And then he's layered on top some greens and a lot of autumnal foliage. These set up the perfect contrast to the focal point of the build, the almost iridescent nature of the waterfall. For it, he again used his color knowledge to lay a base of vortex teal and sungrass yellow. And he played around with more dyes to guide your eyes down the prismatic colors. Finally, with some creative item use, he added highlights and lowlights, just like a painting. And the answer to the question that you're wondering is yes. This took a lot of dyes to get right. But totally worth the investment, don't you think? Maybe a project for your next build? Investing in dyes to really get to know them for the future? While his color work is impressive, what truly sets GP's builds apart is his use of lighting. In his opinion, lighting is what makes a build, and he says that good lighting can transform almost any build into something spectacular. It couldn't be truer in this build. His vision was that light pours into the tree and gives this prismatic effect. The magic of this land is the light. After borrowing from painting, GP now switches to photography as he thinks about how light intensifies a moment or interacts with color. He specifically uses directional lights to control their behavior. He'll scale them up to create intensity, like at the beginning of the waterfall for that showstopper moment, and scale them down for a more subtle look, like here at the end of the waterfall. He also layers light to play with intensity. I love what he's done with the blues here by adding in windows and mechagon lights to really give a burst of color. By using light this way, it also means that he's seriously expanded his color palette. He gets to use the dyes we have, and then how they interact with the light. Like how the vortex teal becomes brilliant blue up here with the lights we mentioned before, and then down here, it's much softer as it interacts with the purples. And GP's encouragement to everyone is that it is possible for us to learn how to do this. It just takes practice over time to learn about how the lights behave and get used to their shading. And now for the part that I enjoy the most. Taking all the things that I learned from GP and applying them to my own build. This is my version of the Magic Faraway Tree. Like many of you, I fell completely in love with Harandar and its people. So my faraway tree got reimagined through that lens. All of the characters that you met in GP's build are found here in a Haranir version. I imagined Mr. What's-His-Name as an absent-minded artist with knickknacks hanging from his roof. Silky's fairy door is also here. This slide, made from the Magistrix garden fountain, was part of my concept from the start, as a version of the slippery slip that helps the children get down the tree quickly. This also let me have a Rutani-inspired Dame Washalot area that I really do love. And I felt that even if it was Harandar, we couldn't have Mr. Saucepan without some mechanical parts. So I fused them with the nature, which hints at the idea that some Haranir have snuck up to the surface. But does that go? Stick around to find out. When I started this build, I fully intended to play with GP's mood board approach. I kept looking at pictures and asking myself, how do these make you feel? And the answer was, I don't know. So I kind of flipped it. Instead of looking at how the pictures made me feel, I looked at things that had the feeling I wanted to evoke to see how they did it. Here's what I discovered. Well, I started off thinking I wanted blues and purples to convey magic. When creating whimsical and ethereal looks, greens and golds were the go-to. And instead, purples and deeper colors were often associated with corruption or the baddies. So it was time to lean into the greens. All throughout the bottom of this build, the greens of the foliage are pumped up with Blightfire candles. They're hidden in all sorts of places. Mounds of dirt, tree trunks, conveniently placed furniture. I'll sync them and then move them back and forth to see how they impact the area around them. I also kept a little bit of the purple on the underside of the spiral as an extra magic touch. At this point, I thought I'd already learned so much about the impact of lighting, but then GP came by to visit and stepped it up a notch. One of the things I was worried about was that the faraway tree blended in too much with the forest around it. But GP was confident that all it needed was some directional lighting. We went around the tree adding in ochre windows, and at the top placed these mechagon lights. This was a transition from my previous lighting, which was more ambient. Using the directional lighting gave me control over what I was highlighting. And of course, GP was 100% right. With just the lighting change, the tree became the center of the image and popped out from the background. He pointed out that now it looked like it was backlit, giving it this dreamy halo that worked perfectly for this whimsical, childlike magic feel that I was going for. GP was also right about the adjusting. I've been playing with the lighting and making changes ever since. My small warning about lighting. If you're planning on doing a lot of decorating in an area, do that before you start on the lighting. Lights seem to have these massive hitboxes so that when you hover, the only thing you can seem to find is the light, unless you zoom in really close. My final GP-inspired experiment was the coloring of the slippery slip. While exploring Harandar, the iridescence of the water kept catching my eye. I'd found a way to get the effect in the fountain at the bottom and loved it, but then the slide felt too distinct and separate. I had the idea to hide stones underneath the water of the fountain. It brightens up the colors, making them more iridescent. I started with all the stones, dyed silver sage green. As a single stone, it gave me everything that I was looking for, but when I added more stones, it started to lose some of its vibrancy. GP inspiration to the rescue. His waterfall worked because he had used a bunch of layered colors. What if the same could work here? I did my own investing in many dyes, blended with some blue glow lights, and it did work. The slide now lived in the same world as the bottom of the fountain. Our next creator is the stylish Radish. You might know Radish as the winner of the cutest concept from the Home Sweet Home competition, where she cleverly let you look out at the exterior of her house from inside. But if you don't, let me tell you that her superpower is her commitment to storytelling. She's weaving her story through everything you see. For her interpretation on the Magic Faraway Tree, Radish climbed all the way to the top of the land of magic medicines, a bustling marketplace where cures, remedies, and questionable concoctions bubble and fizz for every ailment imaginable. Shopkeepers and chemists from far-off lands gather here, selling potions to the folk of the Faraway Tree, and whomever else may visit them. Hidden in the land is a story. Magic, though wonderful when used wisely, is not to be trifled with. Let's get to the lessons. While GP starts with mood boards, Radish starts with story. Her entire process is built around making sure the narrative shines. First, she focuses on key story elements. In this case, magic medicines is a pretty ambiguous concept. If you aren't clear with the storytelling, the potions and spells could be for anything. How does she let you know that this is medicine? Build a hospital, of course. And because the medicine has to come from somewhere, she's added depth to the story with a factory. Even at this early stage, before dyes or details, the story is unmistakable. Once the story foundation is in place, Radish moves to the supporting decor. What will deepen the story? She thought about the different types of magics that might exist here. Traditional magic powered by the factory, a garden for herbal remedies, and even some darker or maybe shamanistic magic as well. And the marketplace comes to life. We already had the key story elements, and now we have a whole land. It's only after all of this is in place that Radish moves to focus on the details. Dyes are an obvious addition, but there's also the attention to the heights of the buildings and really finding the whimsy with these incredibly cute hot air balloons. I think my favorite thing about Radish's build is how she leads you through the story. Almost like you're walking along a path where each step reveals the next clue. The people catch your eye first. Something's wrong. One of them has grown, and then you notice he's eaten something. A few steps later, and you see the factory, and suddenly the pieces start clicking together. Those little white pills look awfully similar to the rejects being tossed aside. Oh, he ate a reject pill. No wonder something went horribly wrong. Then you follow the trail of the good pills. Crushed up, sucked into this pipe, and then mixed in the vat. You realize they're all being turned into potions. Those potions get sold at this shop, and they make their way to the hospital to heal the sick. It's an immersive experience that unfolds one beat at a time. You really can't take it all in at once, and that's kind of the magic. We come to my final lesson from Radish. Good storytelling is not subtle. You've got to bop them over the head with it. Has anyone ever said to you, "I'm not a mind reader"? Well, in Radish's build, you don't have to be. You don't need to wonder what is wrong with these little plushies. Their eyes are blazing red. And no guessing what the characters are thinking here. Their huge, shocked eyes, open and sad mouths, and obvious arm positioning tell you everything you need to know. To apply Radish's lessons, now we get to go up beyond the clouds. If you hadn't guessed, I've got my own magical land that has come to visit. This is the land of Take What You Want, where everything the land has to offer is available at no cost, unless you get greedy. And then the land and the people become angry and start trying to simultaneously shoo you off the land while it also prepares to leave in a hurry, potentially trapping you there for months until it comes back to the faraway tree if you can't escape. One of the things I was most excited about with this build was trying out other people's approaches. So I tried to place my key story elements first, just like Radish does. And what I discovered is, that's not how my brain works. Because what I want to do is fully flesh out a part of my build and then move on. I get so much satisfaction out of seeing one little area finished, even if the rest isn't yet filled out. And there's absolutely a risk here. What if I go all the way through the tea shop and I couldn't make the rest of it work? I might have had to completely rebuild it. But I am stubborn, and I decided that no matter what, I'd just make it happen. And honestly, while it's a bit strange to say my first lesson is not doing what someone else did, this is what I love about this kind of learning. You get to find the best bits in what they do and work out what makes sense for you. It's what happened when I tried to copy GP's process as well. It just didn't quite fit. It's something that I hope that everyone can take away. Watching and learning from other builders is great, but the goal isn't to do everything that they do. It's to learn and find inspiration, borrow the parts that resonate, and let the rest go. One lesson from Radish that I really wanted to try was her approach to progressive storytelling. I love the way the story unfolds as you explore her build, piece by piece. You start at the tea shop, grab a snack, and maybe notice there really is a lot of food on offer. Then you wander over to the toy store, and things are definitely out of place. There's a trail of toys out the door. Did someone break in? If you look a little closer, you might spot what looks like security devices popping out of the walls. And while the bookshelf on the right has most of its toys, the one on the left has been almost completely cleared out. I found this such a fun way to build and highly recommend it. It can add a bunch of personality and a sense of playfulness that rewards anyone who takes the time to look around. I also added my own twist to the progressive storytelling process. Before I made this messed up version of the toy store, I actually built it correctly first. Apart from satisfying my brain, it helps get things like scale right. For example, I don't think I would have sized the plushies correctly if I hadn't done it this way. And it separates the process for me. First, I think about how everything should look, and then I think about the mess, rather than having to do both at the same time. The other big lesson I took from Radish was the part about bopping people on the head. I'll admit it, I naturally lean towards subtlety. I love little secrets tucked into corners, things you might only notice if I point them out while you're visiting. But if I want the story to stand on its own, I can't rely on people being mind readers. So Radish helped me make the story pop in multiple places. First, My headcanon for the land is that the people are very generous and are happy to share their wares. They only get upset if you're greedy. Radish pointed out that this is a hard concept to show visually and encouraged me to go big to really sell it. I added so much extra food to the tea shop that I had to add a whole extra shelf just to hold it all. Next, the Toy Story security system. With my first version, Radish shared that it looked a bit more like advertising than alarms. To make it clear that things had burst out of the floor, ceiling, walls, they needed to come from somewhere. So I added lids, hinges, and openings to increase the recognition. And finally, the chain. My first version made it barely visible above the rocks and very easy to miss. To make it more obvious, I realized that I could use the conveniently located fence to prop it up and make it almost impossible to ignore. I also threw in some GP-inspired lighting tricks by hiding some candles in the bookshelves to highlight the toys, and even one into the fence post to highlight the chain. Making these changes brought me out of my comfort zone, but it felt like the growing kind of stretching and well worth the effort. Just like with the faraway tree itself, we visited quite a few different lands today. GP's land taught us how to think about lighting and color in ways that I'd never tried before. Radish showed us how to build a story that unfolds as you explore it. Hopefully we all learned how to celebrate what we bring to the table and take our builds to places we haven't been yet. The journey is at least half the fun. And I think the other half is sharing it. So I'd love to hear what you learned. Do the like and subscribe thing if you'd like. Thanks for visiting, and see you later.